Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Nehemiah, the 6th chapter. And so at this point, right, we had just dealt with the situation where you had Israelites complaining against other Israelites, in particular against the nobility, right, the rulers and the higher ups, for them having charged interest, right, upon their fellow Israelites, and basically having them in dire situations to where some of them had to resort to selling their children, and all manner of difficult things, right? To which, when Nehemiah heard it, right, he was upset, and he rectified the situation by having, those whose lands were mortgaged to others, they had them returned, and basically set those things right. So here we are in Nehemiah chapter 6, carrying on. And at this point, we know it's been about what 12 years or so since Nehemiah left Artaxerxes to come and make sure the building of Jerusalem, right, the walls and everything were in order. So this is Nehemiah 6:1. Now it came to pass when Sanballat, right, which we read that this guy was a Moabite, and Tobiah, which was an Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had builded the wall, and that there was no breach left therein, though at that time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. So the only thing left were the gates, right, the doors, but everything else was looking nice and firm. So when they heard about it, then Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, Come, let us meet together in one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. So they were trying to set him up, right? They were trying to invite him there so that they can, more than likely just set him up, put him to death. Nehemiah, that is. And I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease whilst I leave it and come down to you? So he's saying, look, I'm busy. I'm doing an important task right now, right? And that has my hands full. I can't come. And why should I have to, this is important work just to come and see you for what? Yet they sent on to me 4 times after this sort, and I answered them after the same manner. So they were really persistent with it, right? They kept on sending him the invites. Hey, come on, what you mean? Come on, He's like, nah, you guys ain't slick, right? Then sent Sanballat his servant unto me in like manner the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand, wherein was written, It is reported among the heathen, and Gashmu saith it, that thou and the Jews think to rebel, for which cause thou buildest the wall, that thou mayest be their king according to these words. So now they try to cook something up to say, okay, I'm hearing some rumors, right, and Sanballat, Tobiah, these guys had to be people that were set up, heathens that were set up as like regional positions. Remember, we're still in the time of the Persian Empire, and you have different provinces, and you had different satraps that were set up over these different regions. So it's highly likely, with the way they're moving and the way that they're being described, that Sanballat and Tobiah had to be men of these positions, right? And also, I think it's Geshem, right, the Arabian. Anyway, he's now saying, okay, I'm hearing reports that you're trying to build this wall because you guys are trying to rebel against the king, and you are trying to make yourself king over Israel. Once again, another ploy. And thou hast also appointed prophets to preach of thee at Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. And now shall it be reported to the king according to these words. Come now, therefore, and let us take counsel together. So now he tried it's like he tried to blackmail, like incorrectly, right? Because they didn't have anything on Nehemiah, but then I guess you could try to say they try to frame him, whatever terminology you're trying to, you want to go with. But they're trying some angle here. He's saying, okay, I invited you, you're not trying to pull up. So now I'm going to make up this rumor and send it to the king and say, hey, by the way, you know the Nehemiah that you sent over here? This were his true plans. He's really out here, and I have witnesses that he's trying to, he's setting up prophets to preach and say he's he's going to be the next king, and that's why he's trying to build up this wall so they can rebel, all of these things. And he's trying to use this to say, well, come and let's talk together, or else this message is going to be sent to the king. These guys, man. Verse 8, then I sent unto him, saying, there are no such things done as thou sayest, but thou feignest them out of thine own heart. So all these things you're saying, none of that is legit. You making this up. For they all made us afraid, saying, their hands shall be weakened from the work, that it be not done. Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. So Nehemiah is praying to the Lord for strength, right? Saying these guys are trying everything. They're threatening us. They're coming up with rumors, trying to stop us from this building here. Afterward, I came onto the house of Shemaiah, the son of Delaiah, the son of Mehatabeel, who was shut up. And he said, let us meet together in the house of God, within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they will come to slay thee, yea, in the night will they come to slay thee. So now this guy, Shemaiah, right, he's trying to bait Nehemiah now, right, saying, look, hey, let's go to the temple, right, let's lock the door, because they want you, right, they're trying to take you out. So let's go there and you'll be safe over there, right? We can you make sure you're safe over there, because they're trying to come get you tonight. And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there that, being as I am, would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. All right, so will you expect me to what, run? Do you know anybody else in my shoes who would go run to the temple to try and save his life? Nah, that's not happening. And lo, I perceived that God had not sent him, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me, for Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. So this guy was set up to it wasn't the Most High that sent him. He was set up to try and as a false prophet, basically, to come and try and scare or sway Nehemiah, so that he could end up setting Nehemiah up. Because then what do you think would happen if they shut him up in the temple, right? So you can see the Lord was with Nehemiah, as he says, he perceived, right? His spidey senses were tingling, like, all right, nah, this doesn't sound right. Verse 13, therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid, and do so, and sin, and that they might have a matter for an evil report, that they might reproach me. So he's trying to get Nehemiah to go off, right? For in whatever way, shape, or form they were gonna frame that exactly, right? I don't know how they were gonna frame that by having him in the temple, but anyway, they were trying an angle from having an insider who they hired, and then they could say, look, we got him. He did this or he did that. Verse 14, my God, think thou upon Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and on the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. So they didn't. It wasn't just this Shemaiah guy, right? You had this Noadiah, like you had all these people here, right, that were in positions of influence because they were seen as prophets or a prophetess or somebody that would either have dreams about the future, or they would be able to tell you these things and you should take heed. So they set them all up, all of them trying to get Nehemiah. Verse 15, so the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul, in 52 days. And it came to pass that when all our enemies heard thereof, and all the heathen that were about us saw these things, they were much cast down in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work was wrought of our God. So when they finally saw, like, oh, what? These guys actually built back up that wall. They finished this thing up. Then they were like, oh shit, man, this had to be influenced by that God that they serve. Moreover, in those days, the nobles of Judah sent many letters unto Tobiah, and the letters of Tobiah came unto them. So they were in touch with him, right? Sending reports back and forth, communicating with each other. And it's going to tell you why. For there were many in Judah sworn unto him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah, the son of Ara, and his son Johanan had taken the daughter of Meshullam, the son of Berechiah. So this guy was married in, right? And these men, Berechiah, right, Meshullam, Ara, these were like prominent men within Israel, right, from notable families and so on. So this guy Tobiah, having married into the family line here, he a lot of people were kissing up to him. A lot of people were basically, like it says, they were sworn onto him. And this isn't anything, at least at this point, out of the norm, because remember, it's still around the same time that when Ezra, a little prior to this, when he came there, it wasn't strange, right? In the sense that it wasn't uncommon that you had Israelites who had given their daughters to heathens, right? And they had taken the heathen women to wife, which was the whole reason Ezra had them put those families away. Okay, so but it's going to show you that at this time, this wasn't something that was, like impossible to happen. Also, they reported his good deeds before me and uttered my words to him. And Tobiah sent letters to put me in fear. So, as it says, in those days, so around this time, this is what they were doing, right? You had a lot of Israelites that were in cahoots with this guy, Tobiah, right? They would report on Nehemiah. What is he doing? What is he thinking? They're trying to, Tobiah, he's not that bad. He's done this. He's done that. When you weren't here, he was this. All this extra stuff, right? All because the Lord has set up Nehemiah to come and build those walls, right, for the benefit of Israel. And these heathens didn't like that, because this guy Tobiah, and you can tell, right, him, Sanballat, they had a hold upon Israelites here, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have said that you had many of these of Judah that were sworn onto him. So having somebody like Nehemiah come in here as a governor to set things right, that's gonna ruin their plans, right? That's gonna cut off that direct and direct influence that these guys had over a lot of these Israelites, and they didn't like that too much. That's why they targeted Nehemiah so much. But anyway, this brings us to the end of the book of Nehemiah, the 6th chapter. And Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.